the country, Nigeria, is an embarrassment, somewhat of an embarrassment to the continent. Not living up to his expectation, driving more Nigerians into poverty every day, disappointing the continent and the world at large. Mr. Berimbonu, how does this statement meet you from the president, the first president in the Fourth Republic, President Olusegun Obasanjo?
Um, uh, Truly, what he said is true. Because what we're looking at presently in Nigeria is the reforms that the incoming government is about to bring. Because what Olusegun Obasanjo said yesterday was nothing but the truth, and we and in this that supported this present government, that was what made us in the first place believed in the person that is on board today, because we believe it's somebody that is focused, somebody that can come and reduce some of the present situation the country is into, because this is the last chance I think this country has, and we just need to think deep. There is nothing to be partisan about what we see around us. We know what happened in the last government, and nobody was really happy with what we saw and the kind of government that came on board, and things where people money was stolen openly. Everything was based on who you know. There was no merit, no nothing. While you were enjoying, majority of Nigerians were left in penury or something. So. What Buhari is saying, you could see anger in the land, you could see a lot of agitation. We're not looking at Boko Haram, we're not looking at the bandits in South. So these are the.
Now, Mr. Bonu, as a supporter of this administration, how does it make you feel? Also, knowing that this is an APC government, it is not a different party. The Buhari administration was an APC administration. This is also an APC administration that says it would continue. We had the president himself say he would continue from where President Buhari left off. And in the 2 months of this administration, Nigerians have also seen increased suffering, increased poverty. What would be the difference between this administration and the Buhari administration?
No. Certainly, everything is about leadership, and the removal of the oil subsidy. If we tell ourselves the truth, every other candidate, or the top 3 candidates, promised Nigerians that they were going to remove this thing, the subsidy. So whether we like it or not, this is a path that every other person would have followed. You understand, because of the wastages, the stealing that is ongoing using the petrol, because it's pathetic that we are the 6th producers of large producers, sellers of crude oil in the world, and all our refineries are not working. We end up, swapping our own crude oil, for, petrol. Crude oil, if we could produce, extracting the petrochemicals that comes out of crude oil, we could do a lot for the country. So, quite okay. It's a high chew. It's something that is really disturbing. But for every right-thinking Nigeria, this is a path that we must follow. So we should not look at what Asiwaju. Certainly, you can never compare Asiwaju with what's his name, Buhari. For somebody like me, I'm a northerner. I'm from Kaduna. I certainly I know the whole political gimmick. I never supported Buhari, but when Asiwaju came on board, I know this is the only path we can follow. Let's be realistic. I cannot follow somebody. I'm a Christian. I cannot just support somebody because of religion or anything, but I want to look at somebody based on capacity. So all I will still tell our people is let's be patient, but certainly I know what's his name, but our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is ready, and by the grace of God, certain things will change around in no distance time, and we'll all be happy at the end of everything. Yep. But the issue of comparing APC something is the leadership. Yes, it's APC, but if you don't get the the right leader, the person that will call the shots and say, okay, you, hey, stop, don't do this, it will not go wrong. It will certainly go wrong, but I'm very sure of this person. You could see the kind of people, surrounding himself with are very, very competent and professional people. So with the ministerial list that might likely come out today, by the grace of God, certain things, will still, the kind of people he intends to bring on board again will still send some flashes that, yes, this is somebody that is here to work.
Well, let's talk about the ministerial list for starters again. Um, the ministerial list hasn't been out. Many Nigerians had expected that by now the list would have been out, judging by how they said the president had prepared many years for this period where he's going to be president. Now, and it is finally come, and Nigerians are wondering why it is that it is taking time, even when we have a law that says the president should have put out his list, formed his cabinet within 60 days. Nigerians are still waiting. In about 3 days or 4 days from now, it's going to be 60 days since this administration took office. Now, what is the delay? What do you think is the delay about? What's the reason for this delay? Considering the fact that people had anticipated that President Tinubu would have been prepared a long time ago, even maybe had names already for people who would make his cabinet.
Okay. Certainly, the president has final discretion, but I cannot really say what exactly. But certainly, I know that there are lots of things that are ongoing. Could be certainly, certain secret investigations that are ongoing, of the previous people that occupied those offices before the filling. But certainly, I will tell you from a reliable source from today, tomorrow. I think tomorrow is supposed to be the deadline. Today or tomorrow, the news will certainly come out, and people should be at least be patient. They have not stayed that long like the other one that we waited for like 6 months, before the list comes out. But certainly today, tomorrow, he knows I can't really speak for him now, but I'm sure that certain investigations were ongoing before this, and then screening again, and then politics is not just something it just happened like that. Maybe there will be lots of technicalities, some names will pop up, and then some reasons, okay, no, this person cannot do this based on this and that. So, but certainly the day and time has come, and I'm sure that the list to be out tomorrow will certainly be out.
Earlier you had mentioned that Nigerians need to be patient with the Ashwaju administration. That things are, but then many Nigerians would ask, how much patience do they need to exercise? How much longer do they need to wait? Considering that it seems like the hardship has multiplied. Inflation is going up.
Yeah.
The cost of things are going up. I mean, people can no longer afford to, some people cannot even afford to get to work these days because transportation is high. What do you think? The federal government has put in some policies. Nigerians, again, at some point, some Nigerians are saying these are anti-people policies. They're not sitting up with the people that they don't trust that even the palliatives that the government is saying would get to them would actually get to them. How do you respond to such Nigerians who have these concerns?
Okay. Thank God that initially when the president wanted to make the announcement about the 8,000, and then later he because he's a listening president, the response of people now made him have a change of heart. So these are the kind of indices that you look at in somebody like Asiwaju. He listens, and he has people down there that will say, this is what the people want. He had to call the governor. If you remember, we just finished an economic meeting which he asked the governors, across party lines, what do you think should be the best policy? Then he now still, gave them this opening that they should go and update their own registers across their state, because the governors are there. They should have their own people all across the local government and districts in their community, so that they can bring out a much more realistic data because they wanted to use the previous data that was used in the humanitarian. And when the meeting took place, they found out lots of things that were not adding up. So thank God that he is taking this route and he's carrying everybody along. Certainly, the issue of the money sharing something. It's not only Nigeria. Big economy, if you remember during the COVID, some people, our American citizens everywhere in the world, one way or the other, were sending. Like I watched an interview, was it yesterday or the day before yesterday, when Adam Shamali was making and just like I told you, I am a northerner. Maybe the people from the south will have a different perception about 8,000 naira. But I can tell you, if you come to some places the far interim states in the north, go to places like UAE, go to some deep parts of this south, top arid states that we have there. If you see the rate of poverty, you won't believe it. But when you're talking about 8,000, it's a life-changing money to someone. So to somebody here, I'm talking about people that all they need is just to buy Maggi or sauce to add to their food. Already they have maybe their meat or whatever to cook food. So they are not looking at any luxury or whatever, you understand? So government is looking at it from that angle. Some people might look at it different from because of where they come from. But somebody, if you tell him he's going to get this thing for this amount, to him is a welcome development. So, but let's keep advising because certainly the response is a very good criticism, and it's on the right. Anything we see that is not people oriented, we can always say it out. And being a very open person, as you would certainly consider some of this, make some adjustments. So he's not just here to listen to all the few that surrounds him. People's reaction and something can, make him, alter some of the things he wants to do. And already we've started seeing the signs. So it's unlike other people that certainly when they say things, they don't go back. But at least this man has started showing us that he can do. He's ready to make some changes in the way we do things in Nigeria.
Now, let's talk about the role of state governments in all of these. You had mentioned, what the president had directed for states to, from the NEC meeting, that's the National Economic Council, where they agreed to allow states generate the register. Many people disagree to say, look, the register that the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs was using to disburse monies to Nigerians, as they claimed, was actually generated from the states, most of them. At this point, what is happening? Are we saying that the states need these new governors, or some of these states where the new governors need to also generate lists that would favor them? Is that what they're looking at, or is this altruistic to ensure that these resources get to the states? Especially also looking at the fact that during the COVID-19, the palliatives that were meant for the people, even after federal government had released them, in some states were hoarded and could not get to, and it didn't really get to the people until people began to burst into warehouses and find these. Some of even the palliatives found their ways into the markets on account of people in those states selling them off to the markets.
Yeah. Thank you for this submission, and you see. That is why at times when we're talking about governance, and generally we look at our lifestyle as a people, Nigerians. If you look at when we say corruption, I see corruption to be systemic in this country. Sometimes I don't agree when we accuse some of our leaders or some of they are the ones that are corrupt. If you look at, okay, you said some people were hurting. Some of our leaders are chance to fit into some certain government positions don't have empathy for the less privileged. You understand? Everything should start with them and ends with them. the little things they could, add value to, the less privilege, they had it. Sometimes some of these things are signed from federal government. And if you look at what happens in this country, the federal government will send to states. The states will now send it, okay, you come, you're in charge, you, and you. Before those people will now take it again, the Nigerian way, they'll cut this thing to their own. They'll say, I must stretch my own. Before it now gets to some of the people to that is for the whole system is poor, is corrupt. And I pray that this time around people should have a human face to some of these things, and then we change the way we do things in this country. Because the major thing is we ourselves were corrupt. That this mentality of I must get it justice in my turn in whatever capacity, any appointment that is being given to me in whatever capacity, and let me see that yes, my life will change. So that is why we're getting this thing wrong. So at the end of the day, the real person that's supposed to get, because let me even give an example. The poorest people in this country don't really enjoy government. Because I can tell you, I've been to some extreme, places up north. You don't see electricity, you don't see roads, you don't see the presence of government in whatever capacity. The only thing they know that happens is after every election, they vote, and after that, you don't see anything. So, and people like that, one way or the other, they've been living only by the grace of God. They don't enjoy any benefit from government. They don't have hospital. They don't have anything. All they do is they still use their local house to take care of themselves. So the whole thing is the sense of sincerity, and we must start, from us generally. We must look at certain things and we say that no, this thing is wrong and this is right. And we must not hide under whatever these guys, when we see that the government that is trying to do something positively and we criticize it just because we want to be criticizing anything we see. But if you're doing it on the positive side, and then because it's not just about you condemning every government policy, but let's be seen, okay, when we are criticizing, let's say, okay, this is the best way we could change this thing that you're critiquing. So it gives an opening. As you say it's wrong, give us the option of what you think should be better. So if you follow some of these things, I think that the government will try to look at and see how it will make correction. But the issue of correction is a generic thing, and it's systemic. Right to our home, husband and wife, you see this thing, it starts to, we must change the way we do things in Nigeria. Thank you.
Now, let's come back to your state. Kaduna State, for instance, has had security issues that has, bedeviled the killings in southern Kaduna and other parts of the state. The Kaduna State currently is where the current chief of army staff is from, and many people are looking at saying, wait, what is going to change in Kaduna State and the north central states of Plateau, Niger, Nasarawa, and the likes? What's going to happen? As someone who's in Kaduna State, who's from Kaduna State, and who's working with the government, what do you think is going to be done, or what do you say is going to be done to end all of these killings or senseless killings in that part of the country?
Okay. The first thing I would say is certainly, as there is this thing that Abacha said some years back. He said any uprising that lasts for 24 hours or something, the government allows it to stay up to that 20, and I believe in that too. So I can still tell you it's the will to stop this thing. Even me, that I'm not military trained or something, I can tell you there are certain things that I know. If you tell me, Kaduna, that's the road from Abuja to Kaduna, and every day you hear that people are being kidnapped, and they will tell you, where do they enter? They will tell you inside bush. government will that all this has been stalking this issue. It has not really allowed some of these things to happen. It's really embarrassing what happened in the last government, and whether we like it or not, we all know what happened. So, and I don't see as you as you allowing that or going to allow that thing to happen. It's saddening, my heart that some still northern government, this the former governors have been in foreign country to come out lately and was saying that the government should still, negotiate with the bandits, negotiate with the it's sad. It's sad when you listen to people that were at the receiving end and what. Just not quite long, I met a neighbor of mine. In just I traveled to Jos and I say, doctor, I'm not seeing you for ages. If I don't know what happened to him. Because he was kidnapped for 2 months. You need to hear what this man told me. You need to hear, are you talking about while he was in camp, the kind of conversation, the kind of, what the bandits were even saying to the uniform men and all of this. No, he does not have time. They don't fear them, they only fear the vigilantes. So you could see as if there is a kind of conspiracy, and it's sad. But at least I know this time around is a different ballgame. The government is ready now to stop some of this thing because if really we want to get this country right now, we're talking about investors. No investor will want to carry his money and come to a country whereby just system attacks and whatever. Unless we in the north, okay, because if you look at it, Southeast has its own. Maybe where is it? Actually, I'm beginning to see that the South people now they are awake and they are ready to stop all this and militant in one way or the other too. To see how they can embrace, development in the area. Because the more you try to do your own thing, that only we that we are in the north. If we keep all these our religious fundamentalism and whatever, who will come to the okay, coming to Kaduna will go to Sokoto and say we want to invest anything there. Nobody will go there. So it's a choice that we must make. It's either we try using all our own elders, royal fathers to see how we can and be open. But if we're using politics to see that we want to keep some of this thing. I remember that before the election, somebody, a sheikh in Kaduna, openly said they want to vote a president that will not come and kill their boys in the forest. So everybody had that. I think I still have that video in my phone somewhere. And it was open. And nobody, and so you could see that people have made it at least some regions they're trying to raise a militia force that will protect them. But they are not minding the situation that, the condition that some people at the extreme, villages were under, torture by these people. You go to places like Gunpowder, you see that you pay taxes to these people, they control everything. You have a daughter, they take you, they rape women, they go to villages, they kill everybody, So certainly with the person on board, I know that he will not allow this to happen. And you heard the response of the chief of army staff that there is no, maybe they are not going to negotiate with any bandit. As we are even speaking already, the issue of the amnesty in Zamfara has already been said. They've made it open that anybody that wants to come and lay his arms way back. So they're giving them enough condition to, lay down their arms. But certainly this government is not ready to favor that, So they are ready to come outright and to make sure that they stop this. You could see the army now is beginning to regain its shape. There are lots of confidence within officers and men in the field and not like before. So as I said, it's just a matter of time. Some of these things, by the grace of God, will all be history. Next thing is that you could hear immediately he came on board with about the intelligence, all the armed forces, sharing of information. They should work, hand in hand, to see how they share intelligence. If you know something, share it to your other agencies so that they can all work, see how they can
stay with Kaduna for a little. Many people do not appreciate the approach that the former governor of Kaduna State adopted towards tackling insecurity in that state. Do you think that the new governor, Senator Ubasani, would adopt a different approach and has that will that you mentioned towards tackling
Yeah,
insecurity
yeah,
in Kaduna State?
yeah. I am. I see. I see Uba Sani to be more open-minded and more of a politician than Erufai. The issue of approach. Certainly, Ubasani, you could see that he's really been open at the beginning, but not he's not trying to make the same mistake the former governor made. When he came, the first thing was to go and negotiate with bandits at the point, going to pay them for only the lies they cooked. I don't know where he got that, the whole idea of, paying ransom, paying some dues, which they claim that, their cows were stolen, and then the whole story was not just hard enough to understand. But I'm sure Obasani worked with him closely and has seen the mistakes he has made. And so far, so good. I'm really happy with the way I feel so far. He has already had his own first meeting with the Chief of Defense Staff, which they always said him. And by the grace of God, we are hoping and we're praying for him that we should have a total way of governing the people by uniting the Kaduna people, not like the way the previous governor ended his own regime. The state was more divided than he met with.
All right.
Kaduna has been a very, very social place, whereby cosmopolitan, and whereby all sorts of people, when you're talking about North, you see them there, those Yorubas that have been there for more than 100 years, and they but at a certain point, with this insecurity thing, it has really, really grown Kaduna. I'm telling you, many people have left Kaduna, so we're trying to see a more united Kaduna, both on religious end and having a united front. So that would be my take.
Very well said. Let's bring in our callers. Those who want to join the conversation, feel free to jump in now with your thoughts, ask questions, and put forward your submissions. 09073530044. That is 09073530044 and 09087668888. 09087668888. You can send SMS and WhatsApp messages to 09097054450. I'm guessing that you're watching us live on YouTube and on Facebook. If you're not, you're missing out. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Paul. Welcome.
Thank you very much. And good morning to your guest this morning. My friends, your guest, I want to agree with him, and especially in the issues of Kaduna that you raised. Now, when you raise issues on Kaduna, especially in security, people like us who are from Kaduna who have tested it, and people, relatives have tested it, and the trauma, what we have gone through. Sometimes when you bring all these issues, our mind will just skip, because when we remember the harrowing experiences of those who have experienced it, and us, even those who are closer to us, we remember that it's terrible, terrible. Now the issue of these palliatives that you raised, in which government is trying to use the governors to bring up the register and so on and so forth. I've always spoken against it, because when you look at the state government, with the little they have been given, or with the opportunity they've had within the state, and the way they are treating even the local government, and the way they are treating perceived enemies that vote them when they are looking for those positions,